All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. We're looking at the core essentials of jQuery today. It's been around since 2006, which is ancient in internet years, right? But we're going to break down exactly why it still holds a massive footprint in the modern developer toolset. If you've ever looked at front-end web development and felt completely overwhelmed by how to make things actually interactive, well, you're exactly where you need to be. Before we really get into the weeds here, we have to tackle the absolute biggest myth that beginners face. And that's asking, hey, can I just skip JavaScript entirely and learn jQuery as its own programming language instead? It is such a common trap. People look at jQuery, they hear it's way easier to use, and they think they can just bypass the fundamentals entirely.
So let's clear this up right now. The crucial point here is that jQuery is absolutely not a standalone programming language. No way. Instead, it is a massive, free, open-source JavaScript library. And the absolute key word to remember there is library.
Basically, instead of it being a whole new language you have to learn from scratch, just think of it as a giant toolbox. It's a collection of pre-written code that simply abstracts away all that repetitive boilerplate. You are absolutely still using JavaScript, but jQuery just gives you these incredible shortcuts so you aren't stuck writing every little thing by hand.
Section 1. Simplifying the DOM and animations.
Okay, so we all know that manipulating the document object model, the DOM, using vanilla JavaScript can sometimes feel, frankly, incredibly verbose and unnecessarily tricky. When you actually want to interact with your website, like, say, changing text when a user clicks a button, you have to work directly with the DOM. And honestly, that can be pretty daunting for newer developers trying to write everything out manually.
This is where jQuery really shines. Instead of jumping through endless hoops, typing out document.getElementById or document.querySelectorAll every single time you want to grab one little element deep in your document, jQuery lets you grab it instantly. You just use the exact same CSS selector syntax you already know, and you wrap it in that famous simple $sign. Boom, done.
But it goes way beyond just grabbing elements. jQuery makes working with animations, handling user events, and dealing with AJAX incredibly simple compared to vanilla JS. Whether you want to make a menu slide down smoothly, track when a user hovers over a specific button, or, this is a big one, fetch data from a server behind the scenes without refreshing the whole page, jQuery provides these simple, built-in methods to handle it all, literally without breaking a sweat.
Moving on to Section 2, Solving Cross-Browser Headaches. Get ready to say goodbye to debugging those absolute cross-browser compatibility nightmares. We have all been there, right? You write a perfect event handler, it works flawlessly in Chrome, but then it completely breaks when someone opens it in an older version of Safari. Or, heaven forbid, you remember the dark days of Internet Explorer quirks. That happens simply because different browsers process the code uniquely.
Well, jQuery fundamentally takes those unpredictable differences away. It essentially uses a one-size-fits-all approach under the hood. You just write the code once, and the library automatically handles all those weird, vendor-specific quirks completely behind the scenes. So, what does that mean for you? It means you spend way less time fixing incredibly frustrating bugs and way more time actually building a better website.
Which brings us to Section 3, Chaining and Plugins.
So once your code is running smoothly across all those different browsers, jQuery gives you the tools to write that code faster and, honestly, much cleaner. One of the absolute coolest features is called chaining. Chaining literally strips away the bulk from your files. If you want your scripts to be incredibly efficient and super easy to read, chaining is for sure going to be your best friend. Here's how it works. With chaining, instead of writing a brand new line for every single action, you can grab an element, add an effect, and modify it all in one fluid motion. It makes your code significantly easier to read and so much quicker to write. You're just linking the commands together right in a row. It is beautifully efficient. You can literally select a box, turn it red, and slide it up off the page, all chained together in one single line of code. It's a real game changer.
And hey, if the core library isn't quite enough for what you're building, there are plugins galore out there. We're talking everything from image sliders to form enhancements. They provide tons of quick solutions when you just don't want to sit there and write your own custom functionality. The community around this library is massive. So, if there is a common website feature you want to add, chances are someone has already built a highly reliable plugin for it.
All right, let's wrap this up with Section 4, the sat-nav analogy. To really tie all of these efficiencies together, I want you to think of it kind of like this. If JavaScript is the car that actually runs your application and does the heavy lifting, jQuery is simply the satellite navigation system.
You know, you absolutely still need the car to get anywhere, but the sat-nav is giving you the absolute best, most direct route possible.
To put it another way, ultimately, it's not going to make you a great driver on its own, but it will make getting from point A to point B much easier and a whole lot quicker. You still have to know the rules of the road, meaning you absolutely need that core JavaScript knowledge first, but jQuery makes the journey incredibly efficient and just cuts out so many of those tedious roadblocks.
So, now that you have this ultimate navigational tool for your JavaScript journey, the only thing left to ask is, where are you going to take your code next? Are you going to use it to finally revive that clunky legacy codebase, or maybe prototype your next big interactive idea in record time? The keys are in the ignition, folks. It's time to dive in and see what you can build.